Hello everyone, my name is Greg Schulte. I'm the very recently retired president of the Katy ISD Board of Trustees. I sincerely apologize I cannot be there in person to talk about a topic that I'm extremely passionate about. And an unexpected knee surgery on Monday made it impossible for me to travel today. A little bit about myself. I'm married with 4 grown children who all graduated from Katy ISD. I'm an engineer by degree and spent most of my life managing large complex engineering and construction projects all over the world. I've owned my own engineering company for the last 20 years. About 3 years ago, after my last child left for college, I got the urge to get outside my comfort zone and find a way to give back to the community that had given so much to my family. Several in the community suggested that I join the school board. It will be fun and easy, they said. I have experience as a board member in private companies, but never had I ran or held a public office, nor had any involvement in Katy ISD other than volunteering at my local children's school. I decided to run for the school board without doing much research on what I was getting myself into, which was probably a good thing. I love an adventure and getting outside my comfort zone, so off I went. During my campaigning, I was approached by 2 ladies who I will very respectfully refer to as the literacy ladies. These 2 very passionate moms and members of the community asked that as a candidate for the Board of Trustees, if I was willing to spend a few hours of my time to discuss concerns they had regarding literacy in the district. I knew absolutely nothing about literacy at this point, and I accepted the invitation. These literacy ladies provided me with valuable information about Katy ISD's literacy numbers, the goals of the district, and how Katy ISD was teaching our children to read in the classroom. These moms were passionate in communicating that the system and methods Katy ISD was using to teach our children could be improved. They went on to educate me about House Bill 3 and the differences between balanced literacy and the science of reading. I left my initial meeting with the literacy ladies exhausted, a bit confused, extremely curious, and very activated to learn more. I take nothing I hear for granted, and one of my few gifts is the ability to become an expert on something I know nothing about very quickly. So I immediately proceeded to read books, I dug into the numbers, I listened to podcasts, I set up meetings with internationally recognized literacy experts, I talked to college professors, I talked to board members from other districts, and I talked to members of the Texas Board of Education, among many other individuals. What I found was everything the literacy ladies had communicated to me in the first meeting was correct. Nothing influences the aspect of a child's future more than the ability to read. It impacts their mental health. It impacts how they do in grade school, how they do in secondary school, college, the kind of job they get, and how much money they make. Balanced literacy, and the simplest way I could explain it to myself, was teaching kids to read by looking at pictures and guessing. I'm no educator, and this made little sense to me. I recall when I was growing up, I was always told to sound it out or use phonics. If I had $1 every time I was asked to sound the word out, I would be a rich man right now. So I knew any effective system had to have a high degree of phonics based, especially at the early ages. When I researched the literacy numbers at a system level in Katy, the numbers were extremely impressive, some of the top scores in the state. However, when I dug into the demographics, there was evidence that Katy had areas to improve. I learned that House Bill 3 was requiring schools to shift to the science of reading in the classrooms, and the state had developed reading academies to facilitate and teach teachers how to shift to the science of reading in the classrooms. I learned that the instructional resources in the classroom in Katy ISD were based almost solely on the balanced literacy, which was in direct conflict of what was being taught in the reading academy. So there was a bit of a disconnect between House Bill 3 and the reading academies and the instructional resources that Katy ISD had available to our teachers. I learned that balanced literacy had an extremely committed following, and getting anyone to convert from the balance of literacy philosophy to the science of reading was going to be a huge undertaking. I learned from experts in the science of reading that changing a large district like Katy with over 90,000 students was going to be an extremely challenging exercise. I concluded it would be much easier to do nothing and just let this one go and find another hill to climb. And that was not what I was elected to do. I was driven to do the right thing, even though in this case it was clear it was not going to be the easy thing. I remember thinking after all this research, I am now more motivated than ever to win this election so I can help influence the direction of KDISD in a positive way. And if KDISD can make this change, maybe other districts will follow. I had my why, so off I went to win an election. I was blessed to successfully secure a board seat in my first election. Changing KDISD's literacy system from balanced literacy to the science of reading was one of my top 3 strategic objectives. This change did not happen overnight. It took almost 2 years. And before I left office in May of 2023, the KDISD board had established a strategic objective to change to the science of reading by the start of the 2023-2024 school year. And the board had also approved $10 million in new instructional resources based on the science of reading. Many have asked, how did the KDISD board do it? First, we started with a few board members and the literacy ladies that were committed to taking this hill. There was unyielding commitment, endurance, patience, and grace with everyone we dealt with to make this happen. The entire KDISD board united around the why we were going to make this change. The literacy ladies made this step easy by engaging and educating all board members on why this change needed to occur. The board added changing to the science of reading as a district strategic goal with a unanimous vote. The KDISD board was committed to finding the money to make this change. We did not use that as an excuse to do nothing. The district selected a committed, internal, respected leader that led the charge to the change of the science of reading. We needed to have a leader that was influential and believed in making a change that was not going to be easy. The district brought in a team of internal experts and external experts to help with the psychology of change. Making a system change of this magnitude to the system that some felt didn't need to change, and certainly was a significant change, was probably one of the biggest obstacles to making this change. Bringing in the experts to lead the charge and get the system ready to shift, I think, was instrumental to the success in KDISD. The district also hired and brought in an external science of reading literacy expert to serve as a consultant to the board, the working team, and to validate decision quality, educate our educators, and answer questions of the community members. This was another, I think, key strategic decision that we made. The district treated this change like a project. The district had detailed timelines, community engagement sessions, routine board updates, and detailed task lists to make sure that we met our goals. We formed a formal board steering subcommittee to provide oversight to the working team, real-time direction, and to ensure the team had everything they needed to achieve their goals. I have absolutely no doubt that KDISD will be successful in implementing to the science of reading by the start of the 2023-2024 school year, due to the hard work of a lot of individuals. I'd like to thank everybody present today for taking the time to listen, and please understand, nothing is impossible. If a school board unites and is committed to do what's best for the kids, if you are a board member, I invite you to get curious like I did, do the research on literacy, talk to the experts, and if you reach the same conclusion that I did, take action to do the right thing. If anyone has any questions on anything I've talked about today or how KDISD achieved this, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you and have a great day.
Hi, my name is Leah Wilson, KDISD Board of Trustees from 2020 to 2023. Today, I am here to talk to you about KDISD's transition from balanced literacy to the science of reading. And what I want to start off with is reminding everyone here that the Texas Education Code leaves us with one responsibility, and that is that we are responsible for the student outcomes of all of the students in our districts. And with that, I got started by listening to parent stakeholders discuss with me about the issues that their students were facing and the dilemmas that this was creating. So next, we had a briefing at a standard board meeting by our C&I head to talk about what KDISD was doing with K-5 literacy. Well, I decided then how to get really smart on what the science of reading was and how that impacted our teachers and our students. With that, timing became, I think, a key thing for Katie. We found ourselves needing to start our 2-year review for our strategic plan. So at our closed session meeting, it was decided unanimously by the Board of Trustees to go ahead and add the shift to the science of reading for K through 5 literacy. Now, our board president then decided to go ahead and establish a smaller literacy team, which consisted of 3 board members, which I was a part of, as well as the superintendent and the leadership team for CNI. Clear Once got to be developed, district provided inputs. All of this was happening over a few months, which led to a final board meeting presentation by CNI in which they presented the final choice for science of reading instructional materials, and a vote was had by all of the trustees unanimously deciding this is what was going to be in place starting in our 2023-24 school year. With that, the easy work has now been done, and that took us almost 2 years to get through. So now the hard part relies on removing balanced literacy materials from all of our classrooms across the district and teaching our staff on how to teach the science of reading for all of our students. So with that, I'm going to pass this back to Texas Reads.